Hi, I'm Steve Acuff, the Republican candidate for U.S. Congress, 4th District of North Carolina. Welcome to my headquarters. I want to show you around just real briefly and then talk to you about a very serious issue. This is a picture of an airplane that was given to me by the crew of Air Force One when I was the Vice Commander at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. These are the airplanes that I was qualified at the time to fly in. The top one's a C-9. Now, I was not qualified in the Gulf Stream. The wing commander was in that one. But I flew Mrs. Clinton around in the C-9, she and her staff several times. This other one was a 707, and it was basically used as an Air Force Two, fly Mr. Gore over to Russia a couple of times. One of the jobs of the Vice Commander at Andrews Air Force Base, along with the Wing Commander, is to meet and greet the President when he comes and goes to and from Air Force One to the helicopter, or from the helicopter to Air Force One. This is a picture of Mr. Clinton and I early one Saturday morning. We're going here to the other office. Show you some pictures of an F-4 and a MiG-21. I had this picture made when we were in Southeast Asia for my brother-in-law, who at that time was an F-4 Navy pilot, naval aviator. The top pictures over there are a flight of 4 T-38s. I had one tour in the training command as a T-38 instructor pilot. Great little airplane, like driving a sports car. Then, of course, you have the scarves of various flying units that I was a part of, and then the coins from various units, both Army and Air Force units that we were part of. I was fortunate enough to have a shadow box made that kind of encapsulates the entire career. 30 years in the military, has some of the medals and things, has the various levels of the pilot's wings, and then of course the rank, and then a flag that flew over the base that I retired from. It's the Pope Air Force Base in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The top item there is the plaque that would fly in the window in any one of the C-130s that I would pilot. What I'd really like to talk to you about, though, has to do with this global war on terror that we've been talking about. I mean, our opponents talk about it as the war in Iraq, but I'm here to tell you it's a lot bigger than just the war in Iraq or the war in Afghanistan. It is a global war on terror. Some of our media outlets and some of our politicians don't agree that it's a war, though. Just to give you, for instance, the New York Times published an article back in the late spring, early summer, and it basically exposed how we're trying to get the financial records and some of the financial trails that the terrorists were using, trying to cut off their money supply. Also published a story that had to do with the eavesdropping program, where we're listening to various phone calls coming from the Al-Qaeda people into the United States. All of this was exposed by the New York Times. Now, what I would equate this to would be just like if the New York Times had broadcast in 1942 that we had broken the Japanese naval codes. It's just that serious. Had that happened, I'm sure Franklin Roosevelt would have shut that place down, probably arrested some editors and some reporters, and rightly so. I called for an investigation, a congressional investigation in June of this year of the treasonous activities by the New York Times. I asked my opponent, Mr. David Price, to join me in that call. I received no comment back from him one way or the other. But that whole business, we need to be smarter about how we're doing this. I'm very much in favor of a free press. A free press is a very integral part of the democracy with the republic that we have. There's no doubt about that. But there has to be exercised responsibility. There also has to be a recognition that in this day and age with 24/7 news coverage, you can have immediate results either for or against our troops. Or said another way, you can give aid and comfort to the enemy just while you're involved in the political process. I'll give you another for instance. I'm of the opinion that if Wendell Willkie and the Republicans in 1940 presidential race had treated Franklin Roosevelt the way John Kerry and the Democrats treated George Bush, you and I might be speaking German or Japanese at this particular point in time. You have a member of Congress or you have any senior elected official that can make a statement, however outrageous, in the name of political dissent or in the name of a political campaign. And that same unedited piece can be shown within 2 hours on Al Jazeera or in another Middle Eastern country. We are foolish not to recognize the devastating effect that has on our own troops who may see it over there, and how encouraging that is to our enemy who does not understand our political process, nor do they have to. All they see is here's someone that thinks just like they do. The effect on that can be real in blood as well as in morale. I don't have a good solution for how you stop this other than just telling people that you need to be aware of what you say and how you say it. There are ways to have dissent without it being plastered in sound bites all over the world with a prominent face plugged next to it. That is treasonous. It was before and it is now. And we need to recognize that fact. I appreciate your time though. Thank you very much. Visit my website at www.steveacuff.com.